So my project is on social norms and discrimination. So my research question was, how do social norms affect the perspective of the individual with regards to other individuals? First of all, we have to define what a social norm is. Well, a social norm is defined as the accepted behavior that an individual is expected to conform to in a particular group, community, or culture. So in this case, why does this matter? Well, social norms have some real-world significance. For example, our interactions are defined by our perspectives. If the social norm says you dislike this sort of group, or the social norm says you should talk to have diplomatic relationships with one group, then you'll have different perspectives and you'll interact differently. Secondly, these different perspectives caused by social norms can create some cultural conflicts that I will later discuss. And also, social norms are very helpful because the reason we are able to create human civilizations was because we learned from each other. We built off what we did. With this picture of fire. So how does this connect with the stimulus materials? I noticed a theme across the stimulus materials that it was all about perception. So how do social norms affect our perception? Well, we perceive things based on how we were taught as a child or how the social norms teach us to think. So in the Muslim Woman article, the Western social norm is to believe that these Muslim women are oppressed. So this is one way that social norm can influence our perspectives. Similar to the Looking Glass House, Alice, the protagonist, was taught to believe that the other side, the grass is greener on the other side. And because her social norms taught her to do this, she perceived the other side as better. So this is my thesis. I believe that social norms create discriminatory views. So first, we must establish that people are scientifically inclined to agree with social norms, to discover how people discriminate because of social norms. So first of all, we have the bandwagon effect. You're more likely to do something if your peers are doing something as well. Example, if you're in art class and you have no idea what's going on and a bunch of people are drawing birds on their paper, you're going to start instinctively drawing a bird because everyone else is doing it. And then this has been shown in multiple studies, like the Brown at 60, the doll test. There's actually a study done in which children were expected to choose a white doll over a black doll. And take note, this is in the 1960s when there were high racial tensions. And the social norm at that time, because the black civil rights movement was going on, many people actually chose the white doll. But this is what the civil rights movement was trying to do. They were trying to stop this discrimination. And then on Twitter, you also see that there's an increase in false news, which is pretty surprising. But here are the statistics. So true news spreads to 1,000 users, while the top 1% of false news spreads to 100 times the amount of users. And this is 70% more likely that untruthful news is spread. So why is this? What can we conclude? Well, clearly, if you agree with something, you're more likely to retweet it. Similarly to how if social norms teach you something, you're more likely to do it, more likely to do it. This is similar to the bandwagon effect. And so there's also a study done in Leeds University about the herd mentality. So a bunch of people were placed into a great hall where no one was told where to walk, and they were not allowed to talk to each other, except only 5% of the people were given explicit instructions on where to go. And over time, the entire group started moving in one direction. So this is pretty cool because it shows that the 95% of the people made an unconscious decision to follow the social norm. Number 2, so how does the scientific evidence cause discrimination? So some cultural conflicts that occurred because of the social norms was the Holocaust. So the Nazi social norms, they believed that the Aryan race was superior to the Jewish people. And because of this, you have Kristallnacht, the murder of 6 million Jews, you have the burning and trashing of Jewish stores. This is because of the Nazi social norm. And you also have apartheid, where the ruling white elites had a social norm in which non-white colored people were inferior. This led to the Sharpsville massacre and widespread discrimination. This all happened because of the white social norm. And then you also have the stimulus material, the Western social norms. Many Western people will tend to see Muslim women as oppressed because of what they're taught as like a Westerner. This is actually influenced by the war in Afghanistan, how ISIS operates, and the difference in perspective. That's why we think this. You also have the LGBTQ community, which has been seen as discriminated against by like conservative groups, such as like biblical norms because of the Bible, and you have the Quran, norms like that. So these groups are discriminated against because of social norms. And then so social norms, if they're so bad and everything, then why do we need them? So we actually do need social norms because of human development. For example, this monkey right here is learning from this older monkey to crack this coconut. So this is just an example of how we can develop as a result of learning from others in a social norm condition. And we also have how the founding fathers grouped together and decided through the social norms of democracy that we would break away from Britain and establish the United States. And then, so this is my solution. What should be done? So I think we should encourage social interaction between different cultures. So this will lessen the influence of the social norms that were taught at a young age. I also think that we should encourage individual thinking within schools so that we're not all hopped on a bandwagon and we can think differently and have better ideas. And here are my sources.
All right. So let me ask you 2 questions. So how did you select the strategy you used to gather the information to conduct your research?
So first I needed to establish a scientific basis for what I was talking about, because if there was no scientific evidence, then our argument would be rather weak. So after I established a scientific basis, I started researching on what conflicts that these social norms would have, because I needed to build my argument up from like a bottom up, like a foundation, and then I can explore what it does.
Okay. So what might be some real world implications of you having these interactions that you are suggesting?
So these social norms create interactions because if we feel a certain way about a certain group, or if that means our interactions are changed. For example, if I really disliked, I really dislike people who are age 32 or something, right? If I have this social norm or perspective that I dislike people that are 32, our interactions are going to be much more unfriendly, unproductive, we're not going to get many things done.
Okay.